Good evening, I'm Sangeeta Kandola. Disabled people have been among some of the hardest hit during the pandemic, with a decline in their physical and mental health, according to new research. In the capital, 73% of those questioned said they felt their needs had been overlooked and there was a lack of support. There are now calls to ensure disabled people have their voices heard at next year's inquiry into the pandemic, as Ronke Phillips reports.
I love doing gardening.
Maya Webster may have learning disabilities, but before the pandemic, she had an exhaustingly packed routine, which included cooking in a cafe, helping in a church and volunteering at a nursery twice a week. Maya thrived on her busy routine, so when the lockdown restrictions took her structure away, she began to struggle.
And I missed going out for coffees with my friends, and I also miss doing my work experience.
When that routine is interrupted, It has an impact much more than the rest of us on your mental health.
I think I was feeling quite low and sad during most of the lockdown.
She became very withdrawn and frustrated and anxious, actually, and frightened, particularly I think because Maya was in a voluntary role in her preschool, which was is a fantastic place, but they weren't allowed to let her carry on working there because she was an extra person.
The charity Sense spoke to 2,000 disabled people and their carers about the impact the COVID pandemic has had on their lives, and found the majority felt abandoned, forgotten and ignored. 73% said their needs have been overlooked and they hadn't received enough support. 60% say their mental health has got worse. And 42% say they've had a deterioration in their physical health.
So there's the disability unit.
The charity says the government now urgently needs to right this wrong by ensuring disabled people are at the heart of next year's COVID inquiry.
Many disabled people are still fearful to go out or are still shielding. Many disabled people are dealing with the consequences of the last 18 months. So we've seen a huge decline in confidence and independence, and that's really had a knock-on effect. And this really speaks to the long-term inequalities that we see in our society as well.
Life is slowly returning to normal for disabled people like Maya, but charities say if they're not included in the COVID inquiry, the discrimination they have suffered will happen again. Ronke Phillips, ITV News.
It's been reported the head of the Metropolitan Police, Dame Cressida Dick, has been offered a 2-year extension to her contract months before it was due to expire. The Met Commissioner, who was appointed in 2017, is the first woman to lead London's force. It's understood a decision to keep her on was made by the Home Secretary Priti Patel, Mayor Sadiq Khan and Downing Street. The report comes in light of recent criticism of Dame Cressida's leadership over a number of issues, including the Met's handling of a vigil held in memory of Sarah Everard. Officers are trying to identify a man in connection with a series of Knifepoint robberies at a Lewisham park. He approached 3 couples sat on benches in Brookmill Park on separate evenings last week. In each instance, he stole their phones, and one man in his 20s was stabbed and taken to hospital. The victims described the man as 6 foot tall, black, who was wearing a face mask and hood. There have been no arrests. A protest ride by cyclists took place in central London earlier. They were calling for urgent action to make cycling safer in the capital. It follows the death of paediatrician Dr. Marta Krawick, who was killed in a crash with a lorry at the junction of Theobald's Road in Holborn as she cycled to work last month. Campaigners rode from the Barbican to the area where she died.
There's been yet another death at the notoriously dangerous Holborn Gyrator. This is a place where there have been many deaths over the years, and it is one of many dangerous junctions all across London where people are killed or seriously injured every single year.
London's Victorian water network is being upgraded following a £300 million investment from Thames Water. Hundreds of kilometres of cast iron pipes will be replaced with durable plastic ones. There'll also be investment to reduce the risk of bursts. Charanpreet Khera has more.
This money will allow Thames Water to upgrade the pipe system to prevent leaks and bursts. At the moment, London's water system is Victorian. That means the pipes beneath my feet are old and rusty. They're the same pipes that deliver water to homes across the capital. And that's why London loses more than 500 million litres of water every single day to leaks. Work's already begun here in Kensington to lay a new water line. Thames Water say that'll soon be rolled out en masse.
London's got very old pipes. In fact, 45% are beyond 90 years old. And we need to start replacing those pipes now to improve our performance and make our network more resilient for our customers in the future.
A key part of future-proofing our water system is making it more resilient to climate change. Less leaks mean less waste. That means drawing less water from rivers and streams, which will protect the natural environment. That's vital here in London because of the density of our population. That means that every single pipe serves 2 to 3 times more houses than the national average. Vital improvements, they'll start in 2022 and continue for another 3 years, but it's hoped that they will make changes that will last for generations.
Bands and singers have been rehearsing this afternoon ahead of tomorrow's Mercury Music Prize. London's best are well represented, with Arlo Parks, Celeste and Wolf Alice just some of those shortlisted. And we will, of course, be live on the red carpet tomorrow. Now, if you've been out enjoying the weather today, you'll know it's been another scorcher in Southend. Businesses and tourists have been making the most of that last bit of summer. So too has Helen Keenan.
This year's Great British Summer in its final hurrah. Here at Southend-on-Sea, temperatures top 25 degrees. And while many were back to work or school today, for some, it was a chance to experience the beach for the first time.
Which hasn't been to the beach. Obviously, lockdown last year, we didn't get to come down, so yeah.
And is it kind of making the most of the last day of summer, isn't it, really?
Yeah, we booked it months ago. Yeah, so we were actually really lucky.
Others were happily soaking up their final staycation of the year.
Yeah, we're just making the most of it, and he's got 2 days off, so we just had a nice break and that's it, yeah.
Yeah, it's back to its normal business.
Yeah, it feels a lot livelier, Southend.
We came to have some fun for the vibes.
For the vibes indeed, yeah. It's hot, so yeah.
It's what the town has needed, a busy summer, after COVID restrictions rocked businesses here reliant on tourism. At Adventure Island, they adapted. With the government freeze on VAT, they could afford to cut their annual memberships in half, which drew in the crowds.
We were desperately in need of a good summer, because we struggled like mad before then. We can't afford another close down or lockdown. That'll be the end of it, but this summer sort of saved us. Although it hasn't been the sunniest of years, it's actually been quite dry for us. And with the Chancellor's help with the reductions of the VAT, it's actually been a perfect storm for coastal places.
But not all have fared as well, and this summer has only just about saved some industries struggling to survive.
Has this summer been enough to save some of the businesses that were in trouble during COVID?
It's one of those things where it's not a general rule for everyone. I think there's still struggles. I think as businesses, it's not one good summer. And that's it, we're all back to normal. There's a huge recovery process. A number of the businesses within the town will be dealing with the debt and the impact of COVID for many, many years.
Basking in today's beautiful weather, it gives them all hope that the brighter days are here to stay for businesses at the seaside. Helen Keenan, ITV News.
Right, well, the weather is about to make a turn. Here's Chris with the details.
Making the most of it, whatever the weather. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Hello there. Very good evening to you. Today, yes, there's been some sunshine across the capital with temperatures jumping into the high 20s, I should say, and low 30s for some of us. But things are set to change for this evening and overnight. The really intense heat that we've seen by day starts to be pushed away northwards. The subtle change with these showers. Cloudy skies by dawn tomorrow morning. Yes, still quite uncomfortable for sleeping with highs of 17 to 18 degrees. When we start tomorrow morning then, cloudy at first. There'll be a few bright spells through the day. day, the odd shower into the afternoon. Some of these could be on the heavy side, but I think for most of us a dry day. But still, look at the temperature change, 23 to 24 degrees Celsius at best. That's 75 in Fahrenheit, although it will still feel rather humid. An area of low pressure is the culprit for that, and it tracks its way north and eastwards through Friday and the weekend, and we begin to see high pressure rebuild its way back in as we end towards the end of the weekend, and a subtle change in that wind direction will start to feed in some cooler and fresher air for all. So yes, we say goodbye to the intense heat, 1 or 2 showers, dry for the weekend, but cooler. Good night.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
And that is it. We are back tomorrow from just after 6 o'clock with updates in Good Morning Britain. From everyone on the late team, good night.